All right, good afternoon. The date is July 10th, 2024. Meeting of Parks, Public Utilities, and Technology Committee will come to order. It is 2:02 p.m. I am Joy Hollingsworth. I am the chair of the committee. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Kettle,
Here.
Councilmember Rivera,
Present.
Councilmember Strauss, Council President Nelson.
Present.
4 council members are present.
Thank you, Chair. We have 4 items on the agenda today. We have 1 appointment nomination to the Board of Parks and Recreation Commission. Following that, we have an informational presentation from our Seattle Parks Department and Recreation on athletic fields. And next, we will have a briefing, discussion, and possible vote on Council Bill 120807, which is an ordinance that would authorize an interlocal agreement between SPU and the King County Flood Control Zone District in South Park. And then finally, we have our second of 3 briefings of SPU 2025-2030 Strategic Business Plan and 3-year path rate with input from a customer review panel and also Brian Goodnight from Central staff. We will now pause and consider the agenda. If there's no objections, the agenda will be adopted. Awesome. Thank you. Hearing no objection, the agenda will be adopted. With that, let's go straight to our hybrid public comment period. Public comments should be related to items on today's agenda, be within the purview of the committee. Clerk, how many speakers do we have signed up today?
Currently, we have 8 in-person speakers signed up, and there is 1 remote speaker.
It's the most we've ever had in our committee meeting. I feel very happy about all the public comments today. Each speaker is going to have 2 minutes. Clerk, please read the instructions for the public comment.
The public comment period will be moderated in the following manner. I will call on speakers by name in the order in which they registered, both on the council's website or from the sign-up sheet available here in council chambers. We will start with in-person speakers first. If you have not registered to speak but you would like to, you can sign up before the end of the public comment period. Just go to the council's website or by signing up on the sign-up sheet near the public comment microphone. The online link is listed on today's agenda. When speaking, please begin by stating your name and the item you are addressing. Speakers will hear a chime when 10 seconds are left of the allotted time. If speakers do not end their comments at the end of the allotted time provided, the speaker's microphone will be muted to allow us to call on the next person. The public comment period is now open, and we will begin with the first speaker on the list.
And before we start, Clerk, let the record reflect that we are joined by Councilmember Dan Strauss. We have a full committee.
Thank you, Chair. Apologies for being late on a site visit of a city light facility with Councilmember Wu in my district.
Awesome. Thank you, Councilmember Strauss. All right, let's start with the public comment.
The first speaker for in-person public comment are Sula Yogi Adams, Delia Black, and Caitlin Washington as a group. Following will be Joe Rossi.
Awesome. And you all are the Garfield girls softball team?
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Hello, everyone. My name is Delia, and this is Caitlin and Sula, and we are members of Garfield High School's varsity softball team. And we are here today to advocate for a turf softball field at Garfield High School. The G3 field that we practice on gets really muddy when it rains, which makes it almost impossible to practice or play games. And it rains a lot. The baseball field in the other corner of the park has turf, so the baseball team is able to play on a lot of days when the softball team has to go into the gym or the weight room. This is an inequality issue that needs to be changed. We finished 4th in state this year, and with only losing 1 senior, we're confident that we'll have an even stronger season in 2025. All the players in our softball program have worked extremely hard, many of whom have been playing softball since they were little girls, and we think we deserve a playing field that is equal to what the baseball team has.
In addition to this renovation benefiting the Garfield softball team, it'll also boost all of the Little League teams that use this field as well. This change is an investment well placed in building the next generation of Seattle softball players and baseball players alike. With this, Garfield softball and baseball is partnering with Seattle Central Little League to try to raise awareness about this inequity and finding funding to help pay for a new turf field. We've already taken the first steps of hiring a turf field specialist to do a feasibility study on the field, in addition to already beginning to raise money for the project. The study determined that it would cost $1.4 million.
We understand that this is a lot of money and that this process will take time, but we think it's important to get this done now so that future generations of Garfield High School and Seattle Little League softball players have the benefits of a turf field. We also have so much love for the game of softball and want to work as hard as possible to be the best we can be. But we can only be so great if multiple times a week we're confined to the gym with squishy softballs because the field, the thing we need to play the game, is a mud pit. Thank you so much for considering this turf renovation.
Our next in-person public commenter is John Rossi, followed by Angeline Regala.
I hope I don't get off topic here, but I'm here, there's a push up on Queen Anne to returf Queen Anne 1. Let me preface this by saying that I coached Queen Anne Little League for 30 years, played all-star teams, the whole shebang, so I'm totally for Queen Anne Little League. But what I don't like is there's a move to move a dog park over to, and get rid of all the dogs and move them over to Little Howe Playfield. After, let me say this. There's no respect for the law as it sits. Queen Anne 1 is posted, Little Howe is posted with no dogs. We call it many times and nobody responds. So my concern is that now Little Howe, which is in the middle of a quiet residential neighborhood, and again, I've lived on Queen Anne all my life, and there's no parking there. Nothing's mitigated. Right now, dogs will run up. There's an area up above where kids play, a pool. Dogs, they run the kids off the field. So my point is this. I think a dog park at Little Howe is a disaster, and it will be fought. Real quickly, I was raised in activism. We created, through Forward Thrust, the new field at Queen Anne 1. I was also involved at a young age of getting the swimming pool on Queen Anne. Other things like the USSR South Slope, on and on. So we've had losses, we've had wins, but this will be fought, and it'll be fought fairly. We're already having a petition signed. There's a great concern about the neighborhood, and I trust that the council members will consider that everybody is involved in this. And so the argument or the fight that's coming will be, I got you, a very lawful argument. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next public commenter is Angeline Regala, followed by Rico Hibino.
Hi, my name is Angeline. I am a mom of 2 female athletes in the Seattle Public Schools, and I'm here to talk about field conversions. I'm here to address specifically the gender equity issue and access to synthetically turfed fields. In Seattle Public Schools, 93% of boys' baseball teams have access to turfed fields, while only 53% of girls' teams do. This results in girls missing more practices, having more games canceled or moved, and missing more school. This is a Title IX violation, and with Parks and Seattle Public Schools sharing resources, this really needs to be addressed. Specifically, girls in 5 north and northeast schools are burdened the most. Of the 7 schools with access to turfed fields, only 2 lie north of downtown. As an example, Roosevelt girls only played 1 home game at their fields this past season. Moved games for these high schools have an average of 12 to 15 miles to drive. It requires children to create carpools driven by children from north of downtown to West Seattle or to the Central District during traffic in the rain. Seattle is 1 car accident away from a massive lawsuit. You know who doesn't deal with this? The boys. Long distance also requires girls to miss more school. They have to get out in 4th period instead of 5th or 6th period. You know who doesn't miss this much school? The boys. These issues for girls are also compounded because the girls use the same fields twice. They use them in the fall for slow pitch, and they use them in the spring. Boys only have 1 season. The future projects in the plans you show address none of these equity issues. They should be scrapped, and Lower Woodland should be the turf conversion of priority. Turfing these 4 fields would completely erase gender inequity and safety issues, as well as provide a revenue stream for Seattle to get us into Title IX compliance. Gender inequity is real, and it has
Our next public commenter is Rico Hibino, followed by Alex Zimmerman.
Hi, my name is Rico, and I am a softball player for Lincoln High School, and I stand before you guys today to represent all the female athletes who use the many public parks that are currently not turf. Since April 13 of this year, the petition that I started has gotten about 1,300 signatures, 479 shares, and about $1,000 in contributions. Our cause has been featured in the Seattle Times and on Fox News, and I'm really grateful for all the support, but this is just the beginning. Year after year, we arrive at our fields, even it's not raining that day, our fields are unplayable and we'll have to either reschedule or cancel the games, which discourages a lot of the players and really is really disappointing and hard to I guess create a better foundation for our teams. And of course there's some turf fields in the city, but Title IX and Washington state law mandate equal athletic opportunities for male and female students, yet only half of the fields girls only have half the amount of turf fields as boys teams do. We must address this disparity to ensure all members of this community, students, Little League, and adult ball players, regardless of gender or socioeconomic status, have equal opportunities to play. Accessible public fields can unlock potential, foster community, and create a healthier, vibrant Seattle for everyone. As a high school athlete, I've felt the frustration and lost motivation firsthand. I'm determined to ensure future generations don't endure the same fate. We can't change the weather, but we can adjust our sails, so we should all work together to provide accessible playing fields that the city deserves.
Thank you.
Our next public commenter is Alex Zimmerman, followed by Lauren Hill.
Hi. My name is Alex Zimmerman, and I bring you with this guide, legal guide handling disruption, people of public meeting, what is have many 9th circle, 4th circle decision. And because I respect you, because you're black, I'll be honest with you. I will read to you something, what is you supposed to be know for many years. For example,
Can we pause?
Found this white of person.
Pause. Mr. Zimmerman, we're pausing the time. We're pausing your time. You have to address something that's on the agenda.
This
please.
About Nazi salute, what is you told me. This exactly what is
That's not on the agenda.
Stupid?
I'm not playing stupid.
Okay, this Heil, my Führer. You feel better now?
Can we have him removed, please?
No, exactly.
You're not addressing anything on the
Nazi salute
agenda.
may be offensive, but you cannot do it. This is legal, not permissible. You know, this a weapon description.
Mr. I'm
No,
gonna
why
ask,
you acting like a Nazi pig, huh?
I'm just
No,
asking
I bring
you.
you this information.
You can
Everybody
leave.
knows
You can
this
put the
right now.
public comment in there. I really appreciate you coming. You're not addressing anything on the agenda.
No, you
I'm gonna
can't
ask
just
you.
because
I'm gonna
I
ask
give
you
to
very
Claire.
nicely to leave.
I will bring you another time.
Thank
so right
you.
now you know, so you not can stop at 90.
Thank you, sir. I
Why
appreciate you.
me 96? You talking about me?
This
so
is
you
disruptive behavior.
Please
Stop.
leave. Thank you, Council President.
You're a real Nazi pig.
That is abusive language.
Our next commenter is Lauren Hill, followed by Bill Farmer.
All right, thank you.
Hello, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. My name is Lauren Hill. I'm a field user and a parent of a field user. I told my daughter I was coming down here and I needed to get some courage. She's like, why? Just tell them grass fields are junk. But actually I have a bit more to say. So field users are one of the biggest users of Seattle parks, and they pay so much more of their fair share. I mean, we're charged so much in fees compared to all other parks users, yet we don't get very much. Over the last 10 years, Seattle population has grown plus 100,000, and we've had maybe one field conversion from grass to synthetic over at Brighton in that time period. Then, I read the agenda today, and looking at current projects, Garfield, missed opportunity just turfing the infield, where if you turf the whole thing, then not only does that make that field usable from November 1st through March 1st, but as these other commenters said, it's not really usable March 1st. Also, Ballard Playfield, same thing. So much growth in that neighborhood, yet they're just turfing the infields where if we turf, it's already lit. If we just turf the whole thing, synthetic. Soundview, this project was fully shovel-ready in 2019, fully funded in 2020, yet no funding now. If it's not built soon, the permits are gonna go out, and then what is it, another couple $100,000 to get it going again. That area is totally deserving. Magnuson, Field 12, we tried to raise a bunch of money. We have $500K in the bank, and we tried to get a grant with the city. They said, well, do a feasibility study, do the field. We got pre-design, and that was also funded in 2020, money stolen, and now, I don't know, 2018, and that, thank you.
You still have 8 seconds.
I'll just email you the rest.
All right, thank you. Are you the original Lauren Hill, or was there another? Was there another? You're the original, okay. All right.
Our next public commenter is Bill Farmer, followed by Monica Sharma.
Hello, I'm Bill Farmer. I'm on the board of Friends of Athletic Fields. Been doing athletic field advocacy for 25 plus years. So 2 minutes, let's go. One thing in the presentation, I noticed, if maybe I missed it, the Joint Athletic Facility Development Program, the JAFDP, is the guiding document for athletic field development in the city. I didn't see it in there, but keeping in mind that lit synthetic provides 3 times the play time over lit grass fields, that's been the focus of the upgrades over the years. So where you got synthetic turf, add lights. That's Queen Anne Bowl. That's only one in the parks inventory. Where you have lights, add synthetic. Lots of projects have been proposed in Queen Anne Playfield, South Magnolia, many others that have lights that are grass that could get synthetic. We're not building new fields. We need to make the best use out of the inventory we have. So really big picture, I call into question the commitment of council, the mayor, and parks for following through on all these projects that have been identified over the years. Magnuson Park Master Plan 2004, 9 fields were proposed, only 5 have been built. Magnuson Strategic Plan 2008, build 1 new field, hasn't been done. CIP has funded Queen Anne, South Magnolia, Magnuson 12, 13. Money gets yanked away, now they're deferred 5 to 8 years. So our last synthetic conversion was Brighton, 2019. So I just wish our decision makers would follow through and get things done. I know there's a big budget crunch coming, but anything you can do to provide for us would be appreciated.
Our final in-person commenter is Monica Sharma.
Hello. Okay. I am here representing King County Play Equity Coalition. We're a network of about over 120 orgs in the Seattle area dedicated to challenging and changing systems so that all youth have access to sports, play, and outdoor recreation. In Seattle, income continues to be a predictor of who has access to sports. 95% of youth from high and medium affluence homes have participated in organized sports, while only 70% of youth from lower income households have. Consistently, in our work to address that gap, coalition members raise issues of field access as a primary challenge to running programming from youth who are most marginalized from sports. The particular challenges include field fees are too high, leading to costs that must be passed on to participants, or reduction in programming for smaller orgs due to budgetary issues. Historic use policy limits the access of new programs serving low-income and BIPOC youth. We reviewed the field overview presentation, and we noted that 98% of city field users are historic users. This must be addressed. We are grateful for the data collection you have started to understand who is accessing fields and how that meets city's equity goals, but we hear from our members that smaller BIPOC-serving organizations and those in newer or non-traditional sports are excluded due to historic use policies. The failure to adhere to the scheduled timeline for the conversion of grass fields to turf fields means that many fields are inaccessible for much of the year and that families have to drive across town for practices and competitions on synthetic fields. This creates another barrier for many Seattle families. Lastly, the high usage rate of all the fields means that there is limited opportunity for free play on neighborhood fields. This means that in order to utilize fields near their own homes, young people have to join teams or programs that their families may not be able to afford. More fields are needed to meet the needs of a growing population and ensure that young people can be healthy and active in their own neighborhoods. We urge you to consider to center affordability, accessibility, and quality in your athletic field work and to more regularly convene. Okay.
Our remote commenter is not present.
Okay. If there's no additional people who signed up online, we'll now proceed to items of business. I definitely want to take a moment to thank, I appreciate the adults coming to do public comment, but also want to thank our kids and our youth for showing up. I know it's a lot to come down here, to be able to present public comment, to, get in front of people and speak and advocate. And this is where it all starts. Local government is like one of the most important things because it affects your day-to-day life. So I just want to thank the students from Roosevelt, Lincoln, and Garfield, the only high school that is in our, well, there's two high schools in District 3. There's Nova and Garfield, right? I don't want to dog Nova. I like those kids as well. But definitely want to thank you all for coming and really appreciate you advocating for that. And congratulations on getting 4th in state. That's pretty impressive. And so now, yes.
Okay if I said something?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Chair. I want to thank the grown-ups for coming, but I especially want to thank the young people. You are our future, and someday maybe one of you will be sitting up here, and I super appreciate you taking time of your summer to come down here and advocate for gender equity in our play fields across the city. And I want to give a shout out to Roosevelt and Lincoln, who are both in District 4. Woot, woot. And I want to congratulate Garfield. We grown-ups are so proud of all of our students who work really hard and who are part of sports teams across the city. And so know that we super support you and that we are just so grateful for you for your coming here today and telling us how you feel. And I hope you continue to come to council. And we are here to support and represent you as well. Though you can't vote today, you are constituents of the city, and you are very much, we very much represent you as well. So just know that. I'm super appreciative and look forward to hearing the presentations and maybe seeing you again sometime this summer.
Awesome. Thank you,
Thank you,
Councilmember.
Chair.
All good. Thank you, Councilmember Rivera. And will the clerk please read agenda item 1 into the record? I always do that. Sorry.
Agenda item 1 is the appointment of Ammanuel Haile-Leul as a member of the Board of Parks and Recreation Commissioners for a term to March 2026. This is for briefing, discussion, and possible vote, and presenting is Christopher Williams from Seattle Parks and Rec.
Awesome. Thank you, Christopher, for being here. You can go ahead and state your name for the record and jump right in.
Sure. I'm Christopher Williams, Chief of Staff, Seattle Park and Recreation Department. So we're here to present Ammanuel Haile-Leul, who grew up attending programs at community centers all over town. His first job happened to be at Bitter Lake Community Center as a summer wading pool attendant. Through these experiences, Ammanuel saw firsthand the life-altering impacts that recreation could have for kids and families. As a result, he has dedicated his life to the betterment of his community. In his professional work as a public health expert and housing advocate, he works on creating solutions to the homelessness crisis in King County and maintains an extraordinary level of compassion for the individuals he serves while deftly navigating funding and administrative challenges. After work, you can find him back at Bitter Lake Community Center volunteering his time with youth basketball, fashion programs, or offering after-school tutorial support. or simply helping wherever help is needed. If appointed to the Board of Park and Recreation Commissioners, Haile-Leul will be a steadfast advocate for youth, recreation, and equity in park spaces, and has demonstrated a commitment to his neighborhood and to the whole city of Seattle. He will be an outstanding addition to the board. We are confident that Ammanuel will bring a unique and important perspective to the work of the board. You know, the other thing I would say about people who choose to volunteer to serve on the Seattle Board of Park and Recreation Commissioners is they are choosing to devote a significant amount of their time to volunteer public service. The Park Board is maybe one of the most time-intensive volunteer opportunities. There's a fair amount of reading. There's a fair amount of showing up at meetings. So we just applaud Ammanuel for his desire to make that sort of contribution to our city by serving on the Board of Park and Recreation Commissioners.
Thank you, Christopher, and would love to open up to my colleagues if they have any questions. Awesome. Seeing none, I just doubling down on what you said. I know it's a lot for someone to volunteer their time, especially for parks. And I read the resume of, and I'm going to butcher his name, and I apologize, Mr. Haile-Leul. I would say Ammanuel. Read his resume, very impressive, and you tell he's passionate about parks. We will now move to vote on the appointment. I move that the committee recommend confirmation of appointment Ammanuel Haile-Leul to the Board of Parks and Recreation Commissioners. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilmember Rivera. It has been moved and seconded to recommend confirmation of the appointment. Are there any final comments? Is he here today?
He's not here.
He is not. Okay. Thank you, Alex. I was like, okay, will the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Strauss,
Yes.
Councilmember Kettle,
Aye.
Councilmember Rivera,
Aye.
Council President Nelson,
Aye.
Chair Hollingsworth,
Yes.
5 in favor, none opposed.
All right, the motion carries, and the committee recommendation that appointment be confirmed will be sent to July 16th, 2024, City Council meeting. I would also like to note, and then we are joined by Councilmember Saka. Thank you so much for being here. We know you're passionate about parks, and your kids are playing all around the city, and your daughter recently won, stabbed the Central District in the heart from West Seattle, but we'll give you that. Recently won their championship, so I wanted to give you that shout out, okay? It's the only time you'll win against me. I'm just playing. I'm a little competitive.
Chair, point of personal privilege. Don't worry, Ballard's got your back.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we take care of it.
Will the clerk please read item agenda number 2 into the record?
Agenda item number 2 is an overview of athletic fields. This is for briefing and discussion, and presenting today is Christopher Williams.
Christopher Williams, Lisa Nilsson, Markeith Blackshire, Annie, I'm gonna butcher your name, Hindelin, Laura Locklear, Seattle Parks. Is it? I just listed all the names on the agenda.
So we've got David Graves, the very capable Mr. David Graves, standing in for Annie Hildang.
Perfect. Thank you. Well, please introduce yourself for the record, and you can go ahead and jump in on your presentation.
Great. Christopher Williams, Chief of Staff, Seattle Parks.
Lisa Nielsen, Athletic and Event Scheduling Manager for Seattle Parks and Recreation.
David Graves, Strategic Advisor, Planning and Capital Development Branch, Seattle Parks and Recreation.
Markeith Blackshire, Seattle Parks and Rec, Parks and Environment Division Director.
All right. Well, maybe I will jump in and kick us off. I first want to acknowledge the young leaders who were here to testify on behalf of their interest in our athletic field capacity. And I just want to respond on behalf of Seattle Parks and Recreation Department that we will aggressively lean into opportunities to expand that access to girls softball fields when the funding opportunities become available. And we are compelled by the testimony, so thank you for that. This presentation today is the result of your asking us to come back several weeks ago, to come back with a comprehensive, fulsome presentation on our athletic field practices, policies, processes for scheduling, routine maintenance, capital maintenance, and we hope to cover all of those areas today. We have an inventory of more than 200 athletic fields spread out across the city. Everyone wants more field time. It is a precious commodity. I think when you think about athletic field use and the availability of fields, it's a temporal problem, meaning that groups want to use these fields either from the hours of 3 to 8 or all on the weekend, which suggests that we may not have enough fields during those hours, but if you're willing to use the fields outside of those hours, we have plenty of athletic field across the city. We also are going to stress today the value of the joint use agreement with the Seattle School District. We have had a 104-year agreement with Seattle Public Schools. This agreement allows us to share each other's fields. It goes beyond that. It also allows us to use interior school spaces for programming. I also want to mention that we are working with Bill Farmer, who spoke earlier today, on an annual Athletic Field Summit meeting. And what this is, it's an opportunity to bring all of our athletic field advocates, coaches, leagues, teams together in one roof and talk about challenges facing athletic field access, maintenance. It really is kind of a half day devoted to all of the athletic field interests. And just by way of extending an invitation, we're going to make sure that this group receives an invitation to participate in the Athletic Field Summit meeting, which will occur on October 10th. Next slide. Right there. Okay, so today we'll cover the art of scheduling fields. I have next to me the very capable Lisa Nelson. And I say art because it's kind of like juggling upside down. Maybe you got a aquarium and a torch in one hand, but scheduling athletic fields is not an exact science. I don't know how Lisa does it, but she is able to find field time for groups and leagues and teams. Maybe not always during the time they want, but no one is denied access to the fields. We will cover two types of fields in our inventory. I've mentioned before, we have an inventory of synthetic turf fields, and we have grass fields in our inventory, and they both require different levels of maintenance. We will discuss turf conversion projects, which are perhaps the most expensive athletic field conversion project that we do. We do conversions in most cases where we also have lighting, and Lisa will get into that. And then we'll want to discuss our routine maintenance practices as well as our long-term capital maintenance program. Next slide. Okay, so the context I mentioned earlier is the joint use agreement dating back over 100 years. It dates back to the 1920s when we established a joint use agreement with the Seattle School District. We were one of the first cities and school districts to establish a joint use agreement in the United States. The agreement provides for coordination on large capital projects. We share resources. The athletic field at Cleveland High School is a great example of where the park department and the school district got together and shared our financial resources to really ask the question, how can we make this space work for the entire community? So we continue to lean into opportunities with the district and have been having discussions with them about where those opportunities exist in the next BEX levy. So with that, I'll turn it over to Lisa.
Thanks, Christopher. So my team has the joy of kind of upholding the joint use agreement between our organizations, SPS and SPR. And our athletic field office does all of the permitting and scheduling for both SPR fields and Seattle Public Schools fields. So from a scheduling standpoint, SPR has about 89 what we call field sites. That's not fields in particular. I'll get into those numbers a little bit later. But the joint use agreement allows SPS to have priority scheduling on SPR fields until 5:45 p.m. And then SPS has about 43 field sites, and SPS has priority on those fields until 7 p.m. And then after that, it kind of opens up for community users to jump on those fields and maximize the use of fields across our system. In addition to our team scheduling the fields and providing the permits, we also collect all of the reservation fees, which then we remit to SPS quarterly for any revenue generated on their fields in the system. And likewise, they then reimburse SPR for the staff time of doing the scheduling for the fields. And down below, you'll kind of see the outline of our fields fees and charges schedule for youth and the difference between what the youth pay for synthetic fields and grass fields, $16 an hour and $10.50 an hour, versus what the adults and the private schools pay for the synthetic use and the grass field use. Obviously, a lot higher in those charges there. And I do also want to commend the youth softball players that are here today for their advocacy, because frankly, as somebody that is responding to the questions we're getting from media in Seattle Times when advocacy of that nature arises and is brought to our attention, it was actually really fun for our team to be able to kind of dive into the nitty-gritty data of like, well, these questions are being asked, like what's the data say and what is the reality of how this functions. So a little bit about the relationship for SPS and SPR and our athletic scheduling office is obviously SPS is managing a ton of programs, a ton of fields, and having to navigate what sites of their own have facilities on site, and then which facilities don't have that, and where they need to then relocate those programs accordingly across the other distribution of fields in the system. So our scheduling team, we receive what SPS is wanting as far as who goes where in that system, and certainly they're navigating transportation costs and proximity and so forth in that puzzle piece of theirs. But as it relates to kind of baseball and softball, we got to dive into that data, and the synthetic versus grass fields for us actually revealed that SPR in our system has 17 synthetic high school base path distance softball fields, meaning those are 60-foot base path fields. We have 17 of those synthetic in our system. And as far as 90-foot base path fields, which is what is high school regulation for baseball, we have 10 synthetic fields for baseball. So although we have more synthetic fields that house softball from a high school standard level, we aren't necessarily the ones dictating where SPS places those programs. That kind of boils down to where they go. However, if of course we have construction projects and replacement projects, or fields are down for any one of those types of projects, our team definitely uses our knowledge and expertise to help recommend or suggest alternative sites for the displacement of those fields programs while the field is offline. So redoing that relocation is definitely suggested alternatives by our team. But otherwise, like we tend to do, is when people come to us, they kind of say, I want this field, here's where folks go, and we kind of just book those reservations as is. A general overview of kind of scheduling and how this functions in our system. In the fall and the spring are our heaviest scheduled field seasons for us. We have fall football, soccer, slow pitch, ultimate. In the winter, it slows down, but obviously sports of soccer and ultimate can continue in kind of the Pacific Northwest wet weather up here. So those sports continue in the winter months. And then spring, where we get our baseball and our softball, lacrosse, soccer, track, ultimate, spring being our most heavily programmed season across our system on our fields. And then summer brings adult softball, beach volleyball, cricket, soccer, ultimate. So the demand is definitely there, and the higher demand obviously for our synthetic fields, which are the most popular in our system, allows for year-round play and competition. Our complexes that house a number of fields at one site are obviously in higher demand, as well as some of the standalone turf fields such as Miller and Washington Park. Our grass fields, particularly the ones that are lit, obviously give more hours in the evenings for folks to be able to participate and play, allowing that extended hour. And some of those sites are lower woodland. Dahl is partially lit, and then Green Lake is obviously a very popular field in our system as well.
And I have a quick question, and colleagues, whenever if you have a question, please just jump in during the presentation. Okay, so Miller Field is synthetic, but it also has two, it's soccer field, and then it has two baseball,
Diamonds.
or diamond, thank you, diamond softball. Are they, I can't know if they're baseball diamonds. Are they interchangeable?
So there's a discrepancy. So like, yeah, I'm definitely going to get into some
Okay.
examples later on that, but
Perfect.
we can talk about
Okay,
it.
but the scheduling piece, is the spring one for soccer, is that boys or girls soccer in the springtime?
Boys is in the spring here.
Okay, so who would get priority over a field at Miller for scheduling for a soccer game? Would it be a soccer game or a softball team to be able to get that?
It kind of depends on what use you're talking about. Are you talking about specifically high school SPS use, or are you talking community use?
High school.
High
Yeah,
school?
SPS, yeah. How do you determine that? Because I hear you say, like, hey, we have this many softball fields available, like turfed,
Sure.
and then 10 baseball fields. But I'm trying to figure out, like, who would get priority over that field? Would it be a softball team? Would it be a boys soccer team, for timing?
Yeah, personally within the JUA time, the joint use agreement time, if that, Miller is obviously an SPR field, and so SPS has priority of scheduling on that field up until 5:45 p.m.
Got
So
it.
how SPS determines to utilize that JUA time is really up to them, and they're kind of trying to work with practices versus games versus all, and kind of fitting that in within that JUA time across the system. So that doesn't necessarily come down to us in
Understood.
terms of determining that priority, but it's a valid
No, that's
question.
good. That's good to know. That's what I wanted to know. Go ahead.
We are very tactfully not trying to throw our partners under the bus at the Seattle Public School District, but the decisions where teams get scheduled is a Seattle's Public School District decision. So just out there.
Chair Hollingsworth.
It looks like.
Yes, Councilmember Kettle, and then I think Councilmember Rivera has a question.
To the comment that was just made, yes, Seattle Public Schools is separate, and Title IX is the education area topic, but I think we as a city have a responsibility to be mindful of what the school district is doing as it relates to Title IX, and then we should be doing it as it relates to like Washington state law, because this kind of goes to the to the testimony earlier in the public comment, and we have to have this balance, and the fields reflect that imbalance that we have now in terms of the softball versus baseball fields, and I think that we should be looking at this in terms of SPS, even though we have direct responsibility with SPR, and we need to lead on this, lead by example, and we also need to be mindful on the professional side too, with Seattle Rain and Seattle Storm, and I recognize that's different in terms of some of the legal pieces, but we have responsibilities there too, and so thank you for highlighting this, and I think that's something that we should follow up on, understanding your point about not throwing anybody under the bus. But at the same time, these things need to be brought out, and we have that obligation and opportunity to highlight what's happening as it relates to the gender equity, Title IX, as it relates to SPS, and more generally for SPR.
Thank you, Councilmember Kettle. Councilmember Rivera.
Thank you, Chair. And Councilmember Kettle, I agree with your comments. The thing that always frustrates me is that when constituents come to ask questions, it's not always clear who's on deck, and we get this sort of, it's not us, it's them, it's not them, it's us. And at the end of the day, I want constituents to have clarity. Who should they be advocating with? Like, are you saying that you have this joint use agreement, but really all we're in charge of is the scheduling piece for them, that we really have no control or ability to prioritize how SPS is doing? What is it that is contained in the agreement? And to Councilmember Kettle's point about we can't just say it's SPS and not to throw SPS under the bus, but Do we have an ability to amend an agreement we have with SPS so that they are in compliance with the Title IX rules? Because at the end of the day, I mean, just because we've been doing it this way the entire time doesn't mean we continue to do so if it's to the detriment of our constituents. So I'd love to hear more conversation or guidance from you all on what we can do to rectify this situation within the bounds of what's under our control.
We have a quarterly joint use agreement meeting with the district, and this will be right at the top of our next agenda with them to raise this question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christopher. Thank you, Chair.
All right, continuing on. So actually in the early part of 2023, we, as a part of our strategic action plan, we performed a field use study to gain a better understanding of the utilization of our fields, our kind of use of and by historical users, and also just more demographics about who are the participants that are making up the field user groups that are taking up a lot of our time on our fields. And so what you're seeing on this slide here is kind of a snapshot in time. And to caveat, this is specific to community use hours. This isn't accounting for any SPS use. This is kind of after the hours of SPS use and community use. So in particular, as I mentioned, spring is our heaviest utilized field season. And so we took a snapshot between March and May of 2022 spring, weekday hours of field use between 4 and 9 p.m. of Seattle Park's lighted synthetic play fields. And the utilization there is kind of broken down per day of 83%, 90, 90, 91, 85. So on average, our fields are utilized at about an 87% rate across our system during the spring season. And one of the things to note is that that kind of 10 to 12% that isn't utilized is typically a 15-minute slot in between bookings. It's not necessarily an hour of field available time that is going to be there week after week, time after time. So our fields are very, very heavily utilized. We feel the pinch across our system due to kind of the nature of our historical use of the fields and the booking and scheduling process our teams go through. In addition, you can see the field utilization has increased over the course of the last decade. We have a 27% increase from 2013 to 2023. Those hours are listed there, 114,000 hours in 2013 and 145,000 hours in 2023. Again, just to note, those hours are specific to our play fields. That doesn't account for SPS fields and volleyball courts, tennis courts, anything like that. That is, in particular, our play fields. But as a part of that process, we also learned that the heaviest utilization of our fields is youth, which is very validating. Obviously, we want our fields to be utilized heavily by our youth and accessible to our youth. So 78% youth use on synthetic fields, 88% youth use on our grass fields throughout our system. And as someone alluded to earlier in public comment, we did identify that of the community user group, prime time hours of bookings, usually between 4 or 10 or 11 p.m., depending on how late we can have the lights on at some fields in the neighborhoods. Of the booked hours on our fields, 98% of those hours are booked by the historical user groups. And so there is an inherent rigidity that is built into our system due to the historical use precedence kind of scheduling process and policy that has built over time. You know, it's challenging when we have the rollover historical nature of scheduling, because if someone has that same field time for one season, 2 seasons in a row, kind of spring of 21, spring of 22, then that kind of establishes, as we call it, historical use. And so they are kind of entitled to those same dates and times in that season at that field. And unless, you know, we might make some manipulations, of course, depending on the calendar and how that lands year to year, but that time is inherently kind of locked in for that user group. And so that really kind of handcuffs our team a little bit in terms of what time we have available outside of that historical use. So when we do have, you know, non-historical users coming to look for fields in our system, our teams are trying to slot them into some of those gaps where cancellations might have occurred. But again, that kind of just makes it challenging for our team to slide in and provide new access to field users. a little bit more on the historical user front. We, as a part of our analysis, we did take a look at how many historical users and organizations do we serve and work with annually. And in 2023, you can see on the left-hand side there, we have about 365 organizations that book our play fields. And of those, 276 of those are historical user groups and organizations. So 276 organizations have recurring time on our fields annually, and that is who is making up that 98% of booked hours on our fields. On the right-hand table, you can see primary users by field type. So for baseball fields, that tends to be community youth, little leagues, high school programs. Football is community youth and high school programs. Lacrosse, community youth and high school. Rugby, community and adult youth, or community youth and adult programs. And then soccer is community youth, high school programs, and adult leagues. Similar to softball is youth, little leagues, clubs, high schools, and adult softball, as well as our ultimate frisbee has community youth and adult leagues. The opportunity that we kind of identified as a part of our field use study is that when we have these field conversions from grass to synthetic, that really opened up our eyes to really the only opportunity we feel like we have in our system to be able to grant new user access to play fields. As I mentioned, the rigidity of the historical use really kind of handcuffs our team to be able to bring new users in and actually give valuable and quantifiable time, recurring weekly time during a specific season, right? So what we were able to notice is that, of course, when we convert a field from grass to synthetic, that opens up new field time 4 months of the year. Essentially in November, we start to shut down our grass fields because of the weather in the Pacific Northwest and wanting to protect them during that time of year. And then we reopen them back up in March. And so when we convert a field from grass to synthetic, that gives us 3.5, 4 months of brand new field time that is entitled to no one, right? And so that really stood out to our team as we were going through this field study as the opportunity to either give new users access into our field system to start a new league and have recurring time that they can count on, and or identify time for folks that are in our system but are kind of have a barrier to growing and to expanding upon their league that they might have, and being able to say, well, now we have a new field, we have new time, it's not promised to anyone. So we're currently in the process of looking at how to build that policy out as far as creating an RFP for that field time, as we can obviously identify ahead of time when those conversions are happening, when lighting and field conversion projects are coming into the fold, and then be able to ask for requests for interest and how folks would utilize that time, and creating a criteria of evaluation for obviously heavily weighting that for folks that are a part of underserved and historically kind of barriered out of our system of gaining access to field time. And I see that we've got some questions, so I'll pause.
No, absolutely. Thank you, Lisa. You're great. Councilmember Kettle, you're recognized, and then Councilmember Strauss.
Thank you. I just had a quick question. You were talking about the users, but I was also interested in the field types. Like, to be honest, I was a little bit surprised to see rugby. And as a son of English immigrants, by the way, England beat Netherlands today and are in the finals of the Euro 24, side note. So I'm looking at this list. I'm also remarking that lacrosse doesn't really have the same state kind of setup that the other sports do. And then, we just had the new consulate be stood up for India. And going back to my English roots, what happens if, there's a demand signal for a cricket field, and with rugby set in there? I was just curious, can you speak to the field type and how that ebbs and flows, and how a new sport may be able to come into play?
Sure. So turns out we have 2 cricket fields in Seattle, and we have one that lives at Magnuson Park and one that lives at Jefferson Park. So we do have a variety of fields across our system that houses various sporting activities. We have, obviously, as we talked about, the diamond fields, the rectangle fields as far as shapes, right? But as we start to talk about sport-specific fields, we do have a rugby field. It's in Magnuson Park. So there's not many of them, and but that is the one that is specifically identified for that sport. So during that sport season, we tend to prioritize that use of that field in particular for rugby, of course, given that there are constraints around not having any others available in the system. Similarly, for lacrosse, I think we have about a dozen lacrosse-lined fields in our system, and so we, again, try to protect the prioritization of those fields during the lacrosse season when we're trying to, continue to allow the maximization of our system in terms of field scheduling. So we will attempt to get our lacrosse teams on those lacrosse-lined fields, although they could practice certainly on other turf fields that aren't lined for lacrosse, but that can only help to a certain extent, just like sending Garfield into the gym as opposed to having them be able to play on their field, right? So we definitely have a variety of different sport fields in our system, some, a lot more than others. Does that answer your question?
It does, and I guess you're gonna have to update your slide about cricket if you have 2 for cricket, 1 for rugby.
True.
And in soccer, you can put /football too, just so everybody understands what that one is.
Thank you. Councilmember Strauss?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councilmember Kettle, for giving us the soccer update. I'm gonna stay on track because I almost went down a rabbit hole there. I want to thank you all for your presentation. I've gotten the opportunity to work with you really closely on a lot of these issues over the years because I think it's just really important to our community. I'm going to highlight some things that some of the folks in public comment shared and also say good job during 2020, 2021. I know that a lot of programs and a lot of construction was put on pause and we haven't yet gotten that restarted, and we were all doing the best job we possibly could during that time. And I'm still confident that we can stay on track with some of these programs. Bill Farmer in 2019 told me if it's lit, turf it. If it's turfed, light it. So Bill, thank you for edging that into my memory. I can never unsee a play field the same again. And so I know in 2020 we had planned to, as was mentioned by I think Lauren, about the Ballard Playfield. I'm not sure that we've gotten there yet. I'd love an update. But, there was this conversation, if we're turfing the infield, why not the outfield? And, I know that there's been the conversation about sound view, and I guess that was a little bit of a reminder, sit up a little bit taller in my seat, about the permits, and if we are indeed about to expire with our permits, how does that shift and change where we're going? And just a real big shout out to the Garfield softball team. Before we had a district council member from District 3, as in before we had our amazing Joy Hollingsworth, I was the one looking out for Garfield Superblock, so I didn't even track your stuff, and so I'm really excited to have you here today. But let me get back down to my questions of what are the barriers to turfing a lit field or lighting a turfed field? What's the barrier to just turfing the whole field instead of just the infield? And then if you need to get back to me about Ballard, Sound View, I'd also be interested in Magnuson. We can do that offline because I didn't give you that awareness that I was going to ask that level of specificity. But really, what are the barriers? Is it just money?
In most cases, it's just money. Yeah. That is the easy answer.
I would chime in is that in some cases there is a turf field that I think historically community has rallied around not having lights there due to spillover and the impact on the surrounding residential area. So there is that aspect to be considered at some sites. I think West Queen Anne or Queen Anne Bowl is one of those examples in particular. So yes, agreed. Let's turf lit fields and let's light turfed fields. Because that absolutely adds enough, it adds way more hours to our system as far as being able to schedule fields.
I think that's it. The state of lighting has changed so much, so some of those are maybe worth revisiting.
Mm-hmm. I might just offer that if a community does not want their field lit, that should be at the lowest level of priority for turfing. because what we're looking at here is how do we leverage our resources, right? How do we get the most bang for our buck? And so it would be helpful to also know, and if you need to follow up with me offline, I know that we didn't have a pre-meeting before this, so you're getting my questions live and on the TV, which is, you know, when we're turfing an infield, why aren't we looking at the outfield? Is it, like, what is that barrier? And it might just be money, but it really comes down to the economy of scale. You know, I know Christopher and David, you've heard, we've had a lot of conversations about phasing of projects and how that can actually extend it can make that project cost more, it can extend the impact in the community. So I'd love to know more.
I don't have an immediate, no.
So I know the field at Ballard is massive. It's a huge field. So doing the infills at the softball diamonds is on orders of magnitude less money than doing the entire field. And I think it just came down to resources.
Okay. Yeah. I'd love to follow up with you more about that.
Okay.
Thanks.
And Council President Nelson.
So I hear that the cost differential between turf and grass is a big factor. I need to understand if the ongoing maintenance of grass fields is factored into that delta, because, you know, turf. And now let me betray my ignorance on, you know, the complexities of turf. But you know, that's an upfront expense, and it seems as though ongoing maintenance is less. But I also recognize that there's design work that goes into the turf. When you combine the ongoing maintenance with the cost of design and materials for turf, that is the issue that I would like to better understand.
Yeah, I think just when you talk about ongoing maintenance, there's daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly maintenance for either your grass fields or your synthetic turf fields. And the cost associated with it you gauge that by the hours that our staff are putting into the maintenance, right? When we get into my part of the presentation, I can share those hours with you to give you an example. They should be significantly lower because the way we maintain our natural area fields, it's daily. You got equipment involved. You have, more usage, more trash, more litter to pick up because of the user groups that would leave behind. But I think you're spot on when you think about long term, versus how do we invest? How do we better invest and reduce costs? And I believe, the synthetic turf way is the way to go.
So in addition to everything Markeith said, which is accurate, the opportunity cost of a field that has to be closed for maybe 6 to 8 months out of the year, there's no comparison to the value of a synthetic turf field. On the other hand, we have groups and leagues and teams that like to play on grass fields, and we can create a high quality grass field with drainage, irrigation. I think it does cost more to do that, but turf fields aren't free. There is an average replacement cost for a turf field that has about a $2 million bow wave at the end of a 10-year cycle for replacing the carpet. So, it's kind of one of these, we would like to have more turf fields because we think they are, in the long run, less expensive to maintain from a daily, weekly, monthly maintenance obligation.
And what I've heard from coaches and parents of players with the CD Panthers, still waiting for that, for that project to come to the fore. I mean, there's also twisted ankles, and the gophers under the grass that cause problems, etc. So we do have to look at all the costs, and short and long term, when we think about the trade-offs of each.
Awesome.
I think Councilmember Saka might have had a question.
Oh.
Councilmember Saka.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you all for this presentation. Honored to be here today. And, I wanted to carve out time to join this specific portion of this committee, even though I don't sit on it, just because it's an issue that is near and dear to me personally. It's really important to me in my office. It's important to my constituents that I represent in District 1, which includes West Seattle, South Park, Pioneer Square, Soto, and Georgetown. And as a proud girl dad, proud sports dad of 3 young kids who play sports, and Chair Hollingsworth, you correctly noted that my daughter plays in the All-Stars of West Seattle Little League. The 10 and 10U team beat the Seattle Central team Little League for the District 7 championship a week or 2 ago, and are headed to state. And you're going to compete like heck for the state tourney or title. But they played in Rainier Valley, which is a hybrid field. Is what the Mariners, like public-private partnership, separately would love to explore how we can better amplify. What we're talking about is how do we do the most we can in a limited resource environment. And so we need more Mariners partnerships. Mariners, let's go, let's do this. Other organizations, other sports, we need more of those private dollars to help amplify existing city investments and strategy. And my personal policy goal, even though I will say this, I get a little bit of a committee envy for every last one of our committees that I don't sit on. This one in particular is top of mind for me today. This is cool stuff. But in all seriousness, one of my policy goals is to convert as quickly and efficiently and effectively as possible, and keeping in mind the limited resource environment that we're under, convert as many of our grass fields to turf. And I actually like the idea of having a hybrid kind of field approach, because it allows us to stretch our dollar more, amongst other things. And some of the most egregious concern, just being a dad, and I see this all the time, and I see the infield is primarily, like when we're talking about softball and baseball, that's primarily what you're concerned about in terms of the horrible playable conditions and that kind of thing. But so yeah, my policy, as quickly as possible, convert as many, not all though, because to your point, I'll tell you, if someone had the bright idea to convert one, certainly both of the play fields at Bar S to turf, there will be pitchforks. There will be coaches and parents and managers with pitchforks down here at City Hall, I'll tell you. But there are still a lot of fields that are ripe for conversion, whether it's for Title IX compliance purposes, equity, just gender equity purposes, accessibility purposes, for the scheduling. Like, there's so many different dimensions. It is really important that we convert and quickly as best as we can. But I would just love to better understand, how do we make I know like the thrust of the presentation so far has been focused on scheduling, but we'd just love to better understand, how do we approach those decisions for making those conversion decisions? Like what is our prioritization projects or framework, particularly with respect to softball and baseball fields, which is really top of mind for me right now. But we're also ending that season as well. And I note that there's a lot of stakeholders involved in District 1, for example, on the youth recreation and community baseball and softball front. I represent West Seattle Little League, Southwest Little League, West Seattle Baseball, Southwest Little League, Rainier District Little League. For families with kids that live in Pioneer Square, a certain amount of them play in Seattle Central Little League. And so there's a lot of stakeholders involved here. How do you approach those prioritization decisions and making those conversions?
That's part of our asset management and planning work that we'll get to in a couple slides.
Okay.
It's a longer thing, but I think we'll get there.
Sounds good. Yeah. I'm fine. Yeah.
You good? Yeah, I think it's on, I want to say it's on slide 19.
Yeah, yep.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, go ahead, Lisa. I know you're on
Okay,
slide
sure.
7, 8.
So continuing on,
8.
just diving into the usership and kind of our historical users, and as part of our field study, we were able to kind of draw these conclusions from our historical users and what usage they do have as far as hours on our play fields. And of these top 10 user groups, you can see that they actually take up 51% of the hours on our play fields, which is a significant amount of time for 10 user groups alone. You'll notice, obviously, Seattle Youth Soccer Association is not broken out into neighborhoods such as the Little League districts are. If it was, they'd have a bit of a different distribution similar to the Little Leagues there, although they're one umbrella organization. But you know, again, if our top 10 user groups take up 51%, and then all of our historical user groups take up 98% of the booked time, that leaves 46% for all of the other 200 and some 265 historical user groups are making up the rest of that percentage of time on our field. So I'll continue to kind of quickly move through these slides, but one of the things, obviously, we're hearing a lot about by way of the advocacy of some of the high school softball teams is, you know, the weather impacts on our play fields. And certainly we live in the Pacific Northwest, so those are very real here. And, you know, the least impacted are obviously our full synthetic fields that are converted and or just full synthetic. They don't have the impacts of weather constraints doing any sort of cancellations on those fields in particular. Obviously, our hybrid synthetic and grass ball field diamonds are kind of rarely impacted by rain, although it does happen, especially Lower Woodland 1 has a clay mound for baseball that will obviously be impacted and have some cancellations on what we would call a synthetic field there because of the clay mound. But by and large, the hybrid infield synthetic versus grass out and grass outfield combo allow for more playing of baseball and softball, which is obviously a very huge value in our system. Again, our grass rectangle fields, those are not really impacted by rain or rainy weather in our system either. Typically soccer, football, ultimate, those are all sports that can continue to safely play in rainy conditions and continue to do so. It's very rare that our staff call a rain out, so to speak, on any one of our grass rectangle fields due to the nature of the activity there being able to continue on. Obviously, the most impacted is our dirt infield, grass outfield, ball fields. And so those are significantly impacted when we have rainy weather. The interesting thing about our kind of, as SPR calls, rainouts, right? We have our staff out in the field, our district maintenance staff will call in. They'll do the rounds in their district and check out the fields in that morning. They'll report it to our athletic scheduling office. We'll send out a rainout bulletin at 12:30, what fields are playable, which are not. They'll do the rounds again in the afternoon, and then we'll send out another one at 3:30 in the afternoon to kind of decide whether we are closing those fields or not. We don't make the call in the evening or on the weekends. That is really kind of up to the community user group to get out to that field and make that judgment call on their own. And if and when that field is unplayable, they email our office. We obviously try to either reschedule and find time for a makeup, or we'll refund them for that use if they obviously weren't able to use the field as paid for. So again, some of the fields that are also most impacted are when we do these conversions, when we have to take fields offline due to capital renovations and projects of that nature. You know, the field is offline during that stretch of time it takes to complete from that notice to proceed until that substantial completion of the field. So that is obviously a major impact to the communities, especially those that have a large amount of community or historical use on that field in particular that's undergoing renovation. And then, as we are all widely aware, off-leash dogs are just wreaking havoc on our grass fields, and it is making it a major, major headache and a challenge for our district staff to keep up with, to fill holes, to repair and rehabilitate grass and so forth. So that is a very significant challenge in the way in which our grass fields are most impacted by that kind of activity there. In addition to obviously our joint use agreement with Seattle Public Schools, we do have a few other agreements with Seattle Parks and Recreation and other entities that do allow some priority scheduling at certain locations. We have Seattle Prep that contributed almost $1 million to turf the field out at Montlake and then replace that turf every 10 years. So there are some community benefits associated with that field being turf in our system. It is not a lit turf field, but it does provide additional community use hours there as a part of that. Seattle Academy of Arts and Sciences at South Park, obviously fully funding the project out there with 2 baseball diamonds, or ball field diamonds and rectangle fields becoming turf out there. So a 25-year agreement there for some priority scheduling. And then Interbay Stadium, obviously Seattle Pacific University, fully funding the stadium and the amenities alongside that facility and their use there throughout the school calendar year. Our athletics field scheduling office is trying in many ways in which we can to elevate our equity and our access to our play fields where we can make that available. It was alluded to earlier, obviously it's a challenge when you have these fields in your neighborhood nearby and they're scheduled to the minute. And so how are you able to get out there and access them? So one highlight here is that in those lower use seasons, such as summer and winter, we do have drop-in field use where we leave our fields intentionally unscheduled and unprogrammed so that we have spontaneous organic use allowed to kind of go out there and just go out and get on the field with your friends and family. So we have 10 fields through those 2 seasons that we program or schedule for kind of unscheduled use, so to speak. As I mentioned, we're continuing to evaluate the field study data that we gathered back in early 2023, identifying new opportunities for access for folks to get into the system if they're having barriers to get in, get their foot in the door, and or expand upon what kind of use they already have in our system. And then one last highlight I'll call out is just that we have a fee reduction waiver application. So if there are user groups that are trying to gain access to our fields and are feeling a barrier as far as it goes with our fees and charges, they can fill out an application and that gets evaluated internally to see if we can reduce the costs associated with giving them access to our fields in that way.
I believe Councilmember Rivera has a question.
Thank you, Chair. Just in the slide 10 right before, these use agreements for these fields, is it the same as SPS where it's a certain time that they have priority? What are the hours? I mean, I see the term, but
it kind of varies per each of these, or a little bit unique. I can gather the specifics, and we can certainly send those over to you to identify what those might be.
That's great. And these are Seattle Parks that we're talking about, right?
Yes. Yeah. These are Seattle Parks properties, and the stadium build at Interbay is kind of a partnership build.
SPS. Similar agreements as SPS, as you do have with SPS. Similar type of use agreement.
Well, these have more of a public benefit requirement than I think what you'd find in the Seattle Public School agreement. Everything they do is theoretically public benefit, but these have a more specific public benefit component.
Okay. I would love to know the hours for these. Thank you, Christopher. I hear you. Because they're private schools, they have to give more public benefit than SPS, who's public.
Yeah, makes sense.
Thank you.
Councilmember Kettle.
Yes, just wanted to note when you mentioned Interbay Stadium, it reminded me, and then I checked through the agenda piece, the Memorial Stadium is not addressed. I understand it's different, comes from a different angle with SPS, but I was wondering if you could speak to that a little bit. And I didn't mention it on the previous slide, but off-leash dogs is such a major problem. So any ideas, strategies related to off-leash dogs? Trust me, Queen Anne, which has got more dogs than people, I think sometimes, it is a major, major problem, as you heard during public comment.
Yeah, can you clarify your question about Memorial Stadium?
How does that play? It's an athletic field. You mentioned Interbay Stadium, and when I went through the briefing on the agenda sheet, I didn't see it addressed. I just wonder if you could speak to Memorial Stadium, its unique pieces in terms of the partnership with SPS. I mean, it's part of Seattle Center. I understand the property belongs to SPS, but we're obviously funding, the new stadium that should be starting up soon, and how will that play in relative to what you're seeing here in this slide?
So this is a very complicated kind of response. There are a lot of moving parts here. As you accurately point out, the school district is slated to renovate Memorial Stadium. That's not been part of our historic use agreement with the district. The connection between Memorial Stadium and, say, Lincoln High School is the school district is looking for a place to relocate the Lincoln High School football team so they don't have to travel down to Memorial Stadium to use that stadium. They want to find an athletic field location in the Lincoln Park neighborhood, and we are working closely with them to look at various sites in North Seattle, proximate to Lincoln High School. Let's see, there was another part of your question that I wanted to respond to. Dogs. We recently brought on 25 park rangers, and we think that park rangers are going to be part of a more comprehensive strategy working with animal control at FAS to get a better handle on off-leash dogs. These strategies might involve citing more off-leash dog owners. These strategies might involve some higher level of enforcement than we've had up till now, but it's something we're acutely aware of and are thinking about how to move forward on.
Thank you.
I think that's a great idea. Thank you for that on the off-leash dogs point. And I understand Memorial Stadium is unique, and we just need to be engaged on it as it continues to move forward, since it is a partnership between SPS starting as primary, but we are a major partner in it, and we need to maintain this kind of oversight and the like. So thank you.
So, please, and just, I'm
yeah.
sorry, just a heads up. So a time check, and I know we had only scheduled 20 minutes for this, and I'm not cutting anyone off, but if I'd ask my colleagues if we could hold our questions to the end, let our Parks Department get through the presentation, and then we can ask them at the end, if that's okay. Awesome. All right, go right ahead.
All right.
You could say we're really passionate about
Love
our
it,
fields.
as we are too. So how many fields do we have, right? Like, I think a lot of that is some part of the questions here. It might feel like a simple question, but it's in fact pretty complex. Do you want to know how many fields we have by field shape, rectangles or diamonds? Do you want to know how many fields we have by sport, right? As you can see, we have listed here various kind of more common sports that are played on our fields, but as we saw earlier, we didn't have all of our sports listed here, so adding up those numbers might be a little bit deceiving. But do you want to know by high school field sports standards or Little League field sports standards? Obviously, high school base paths for softball are 60 foot, but that's the Little League baseball also, base paths. So it really kind of starts to depend upon what kind of criteria we're asking and how are we defining, answering those questions. And for example, we have a Brighton play field that was alluded to earlier where you have 2 ball field diamonds and then a rectangle overlapping that. How do we refer to that? As one field or one site or 3 fields? So all that to be said is when we're talking about defining that criteria, for sake of numbers, we have 124 ball field diamonds, which is baseball, softball, t-ball. 38 of those are lit. We have 87 rectangles, obviously for youth or adult soccer, football, ultimate, rugby, lacrosse. 29 of those are lit. And so as you see right here in this slide, you'll see kind of that big number 13 over there at Magnuson. In the Central West District, we have West Magnolia playfield there. And so I'll just kind of use those as a couple examples of drilling down really quickly. This is Magnuson Park and Magnuson playfields. And we kind of talk about these in terms of 2 different sites. We have the site up above with the group of 5 playfields up on the meadow up there. And those are grass. And then we have kind of the collection of the remaining 7 fields here, 3 of which are synthetic turf rectangles, a couple infields that are turfed for baseball, softball with natural turf outfields, and then a couple of other dirt ball fields there. And then the other example here is West Magnolia North, where we have 5 ball field diamonds. We have 3 rectangle sport fields here, and none of these can house 90-foot high school baseball, right? So some of this is like they're deceiving sometimes in terms of like how many fields do we really have? But if we're talking about 90-foot base path fields for baseball, right, then that starts to determine a very different number of what we would say baseball fields are in our system. But if you want to talk Little League baseball, then that number skyrockets, right? So here, again, is just kind of a snapshot of our grass fields. As we mentioned earlier, I think we have about 10 grass sites that are lit. As Councilmember Strauss said, we want to light our synthetic fields. We want to, turf our lit fields. And so certainly we have those conversations with our planning and capital development team as far as trying to prioritize and identify which fields should go forth as far as those projects. And then here's just another map quickly of our synthetic fields across our system. And as you'll see here, obviously Central West District is really lacking in terms of its synthetic fields there. And Queen Anne Bowl, as we mentioned, it's unlit in there in the South or Central West District. And then we Interbay Stadium is the lit field over there in Central West. But again, lots of fields, lots of conversations, lots of passion, and thank you for having us to continue this conversation. And with that, I'm going to pass it along to David Graves, my colleague from Planning and Capital Development, to talk a little bit more about asset management of our fields.
Thank you. So this graphic is an attempt to simplify what's really a complicated and an ongoing asset management and capital planning process. Every asset class in our system, everything from irrigation lines to restrooms to play fields, has a life cycle that we have to monitor for renewal. It's a 4-part renewal process that includes the asset management planning phase, the capital renewal phase, where priority projects are identified, funded, and designed, the asset commissioning phase, where assets are installed or replaced, and finally, everyone's favorite phase, the asset use, when the asset is ready to be used and open for the public. The main objective of the planning work we do in the first phase is to keep our assets in that final phase as much as possible. We try to schedule out maintenance so that we avoid any unpredictable closures or failures. The asset management planning phase is itself divided up into 3 phases. There's a condition assessment. We use that condition assessment to prioritize projects. And once we have a plan for these projects, we start to identify and scope associated budgets that are assigned for capital projects in upcoming years. Next, please. And so we prioritize these projects using kind of a comparative analysis assessment relative to the asset's condition and safety, and then also factor in 4 other really significant criteria. There's equity, there's any regulatory issues, there's an opportunity, and there's efficiency. As an example, if several sites appear to be kind of a tie in their, less good conditions, we might give more weight to projects that help us meet our race and social justice goals, more efficiently use our resources, address any outstanding regulatory requirements, accessibility, those sorts of things, or provide time-sensitive opportunity, a grant that is about to expire we need to implement, or the mariners come to us and say, hey, we want to work on a field. So we try to be somewhat flexible as these opportunities come up. Next. And you've seen these maps before. These maps give us an opportunity to sort of prioritize our distribution. Look where we have fields today, where do we need fields, where are there gaps in our system that help us identify our priorities. Next. And so this just talks about our grass field renovation project. It just shows recently completed, current, and future priority projects. Renovation, when we renovate a field, we do a complete renovation. So we look at irrigation systems, drainage systems, topsoil, reseeding, resodding the play field itself, and then making sure we're addressing any infrastructure needs, backstops, dugouts, and making sure also any accessibility improvements are necessary. We want our fields to be accessible to folks of all ages and abilities, so making sure we comply with Americans with Disabilities Act. This work is primarily funded by Park District funding. And so next. And this gives you a snapshot of kind of our our synthetic field renovation program. There's a little bit more predictability. We know field carpets need to be replaced every 10 years. These replacements give us a chance to upgrade to the latest standards and best practices, look at changing things like converting from crumb rubber infield to the sand cork mix that we're moving to. We've been going through a lot of replacements in the last few years, in large part driven by the fact that we did a bunch of fields in a relatively short amount of time, so they're all coming due at the same time. We're starting to stagger those replacements. You can see that kind of 2026 to 2029 timeframe. We're a little bit more quiet because we've been able to stagger some of these, and then we pick up the next cycle of carpet replacement. And this just shows you a list of recently completed current projects in planning and design, and then there's future needs, future projects. Next, thanks. And then this, I think Councilmember Saka goes to your point of talking about synthetic turf conversions. We convert to increase capacity of these fields. And so a big driver for how we prioritize these is the Joint Athletic Facilities Development Plan, which we developed in partnership with Seattle Public Schools in 2019. It analyzes scheduled field usage, field lighting, and number of sports a field can carry. And really the goal of the program is to provide quality, durable facilities, increase capacity, and respond to demands. The challenges to these conversion projects are both the initial cost, and then once we've made that initial cost, there's the long-term commitment for future replacements. That said, this program helps us prioritize our funding for athletic fields and create opportunities to use outside funding to convert fields. Funding for this work relies on our REIT funding, grants or donations to achieve this work, and we've been able to leverage private partnership, whether it's at South Park or the Rainier Playfield. Next, thank you. And then our planned investments, which cover the years up until the last year of our current Park District funding cycle, which is 29, are split between maintaining existing capacity and opportunities to expand capacity or creating additional hours for play. For example, converting an infield to synthetic baseball infield, baseball softball infield from dirt to synthetic reduces rainouts and improves the quality of play, but it doesn't necessarily add hours, it just adds certainty. We spent about $20 million in the last 6 years, and we'll spend an additional 15 in the next 6 years just to maintain what we have. We have additional planned maintenance for switching out the wood poles that support the lighting to metal ones, and also converting our existing lighting to LED, which helps to maintain and increase the amount of playable hours. Converting to LED saves energy, saves money, and reduces the impacts from glare on folks. With that, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and then I know obviously a lot of questions around rainouts and so forth. So this table in here identifies about a bit of our rainout data from 2022 and 2023. That said, as I mentioned earlier, these are rainouts that SPR called from our office, from our districts. That doesn't necessarily account for rainouts that user groups themselves accounted for and sent in to us as far as requiring a refund for not being able to use the field during that time. So that chart just kind of outlines what those numbers look like for 90-foot ball field, which would be a high school baseball, synthetic and grass, and then 60-foot high school softball / Little League, synthetic and grass.
All right, thank you. So the next few slides just address how we maintain these fields, our routine maintenance programs, and our preventative maintenance program. As you all know, and we've talked about, we maintain natural synthetic turf fields as well as hybrid fields. These hybrid fields are the synthetic infield, and usually the natural part of the field is in the outfield. Each of these fields require different methods of maintenance and different type of equipment to maintain these fields. We provide these tasks and routine maintenance schedules to keep the field safe, for the surrounding areas for the players and the spectators. And this includes the trash collection, hard surface cleaning is pressure washing, the bleachers, the concrete pads, the dugouts, graffiti removal, tree and shrub, the pruning and the care of the landscape around the fields. This is our what we consider our general maintenance and repairs. That in 2023, we contributed 5,050 hours to just general maintenance, just to keep the field safe. I just want to make the comparison and highlight the hours used here. You know, Councilmember Nilsson, you'll see like we're spot on when we talk about how much time is used to maintain the natural fields versus the synthetic fields. Next slide, please. So our natural surface fields, we have 125 natural surface fields that we maintain. There's daily, weekly, and monthly maintenance tasks. We have seasonal tasks. On these natural surface fields, we prep the infields for scheduled games, and these tasks include removing or adding water depending on conditions, grooming the fields, setting the bases to the appropriate distances, and lining the fields for the scheduled game. Our weekly tasks include stocking the boxes these are called NAC boxes. We stock those boxes for volunteers. The volunteers can come out. In those boxes, they also have the same material we use, our staff use to line the fields. That's the chalk line. They have the chalking machines. They have the chalk in the boxes, the string line to make sure the lines are straight. And so in our monthly tasks on these fields are removing what we call the wing fence, is grass that grows along the fence lines that are protecting our spectators and our players from foul balls and stuff like that. And also around the lip line, which is what we call the arc line. Seasonal tasks include the tilling of the soil and adding material. So if you see in the photo, you see the tractor, and that machine behind it is what we use to help till the soil. This happens on a seasonal basis. This helps with the conditioning of the infields to keep them safe and smooth. Our natural turf areas, we have 141 acres of grass. Athletic fields, daily routine is litter pick, weekly mowing, and lining the foul lines, we use paint to do that. Biannually, we aerate, top dress, seed, and fertilize. And our seasonal tasks are irrigating the fields, that's winterizing and reactivating when the season begins. And you can see our labor hours for taking care of just the natural surface on the infields is 6,802 hours is what we contributed in 2023. And for our natural grass fields or the grass fields, turf, the mowing, the line painting, aerate, top dressing, we contributed 11,212 hours to those tasks. Next slide, please. And finally, the synthetic field turf maintenance. We maintain 50 acres of synthetic turf ball fields. Our daily, weekly, monthly tasks are as follows. Daily tasks are litter pickup, and we inspect the field to ensure the surroundings areas are safe for play. Weekly, we blow the surface, remove organic debris, that's leaves, pine needles, pine cones, depending on where the fields are located. We address the hazards such as these trip hazards, tears, and splitting of the turf, and contact our contractors if it's something bigger than what we can handle within our department or our division to come out to take care of the warranty issues. Our monthly tasks including brushing the fields, top dressing the areas that are high use areas like the goal mouse and when you play soccer, home plate. For most people, the baseball players, softball players like to dig in. And so our folks do come out on a weekly basis and replenish those areas to make sure they're safe. And biannually, we remove the debris using the Sports Champ It's what you see in the photo. This machine basically is like it deep tines and it digs deeper into the turf surface. It removes the debris and redistributes the cork or rubber, depending on what's the material used for that synthetic fill. And you can see the reduction in the hours is tremendous, over 75%. 2,078 hours contributed in 2023.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the presentation. And now I'd love to open it up. I know my colleagues have questions and would love to open it up. I see Councilmember Saka. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for answering a few of my questions there. And it was great to see that prioritization framework, or like the criteria used to select these candidate projects in terms of conversion. I have a couple other questions on these same points along the same lines. So I guess first off, when making these decisions on converting from grass to turf, what kind of stakeholdering do you do? What kind of community engagement? What does that look like? I know it's not just SPS. It's all these various community, youth, recreational sports teams. It's neighbors. It's any number of. So what's your community engagement process for informing those decisions?
I mean, we have a community engagement policy, so when we make any changes to fields, we go out to the community and talk to them specifically. I mean, the JFDP is really our guiding document, and it kind of lists out those fields that are scheduled. So a lot of that, readoption over a course of years of the JFDP highlights those fields that are going to be converted in the future. Soundview is the next one that's on our priority list. So there was a whole bunch of planning work associated with that happened 5, 6, 8 years ago. It was scheduled in 2020. It'll move forward in 2025. And so it's a pretty long lead time. There's a fair amount of coordination with Seattle Public Schools and with the community. Converting a field from natural grass to synthetic turf is no small thing. It brings additional traffic to the neighborhood. It brings light. It brings all those things that folks aren't necessarily used to. So there's a lot of work up front in planning that happens as we start to identify those fields that are due for that conversion.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I'll just quickly share there are a few specific projects or opportunities, I'll say, in my district that I'm aware of, is having talk with various stakeholders, whether it's the presidents of these various community youth recreational sports leagues or other parents, coaches. So Riverview Playfields, Fairmont Park, their baseball field, softball field, I think it's a baseball field, and then E.C. Hughes Playfield. Those three are ripe in D1. I'll just share that right now. But you're right, community engagement and stakeholdering, that is very important. I have a question I want to expound upon Councilmember Strauss's earlier question about public-private partnerships and that specific opportunity. Again, this is a limited resource environment, and we can't do everything. We certainly can't do it overnight, and we need to stretch our dollar as far as we can, which is why I personally support an incremental approach, and that means, let's take care of these infields first, and then we'll worry about. But so appreciate the Mariners for stepping up in that Rainier Playfield, but how can we best expand public-private partnership opportunities to get more of those in terms of the specific conversions of these fields?
Well, maybe one thing we ought to consider doing, and I don't think we've done this very much, but you raise an interesting question, and that is how does the RFP process or RFI process fit into an equation when we're getting ready to redevelop a field? Is that a legitimate way to seek out partners? We've had a lot of success with different partners, the Seattle Arts Academy and Science Academy, SAS, contributed over $4 million to the field redevelopment at South Park. So we want to think and learn in public and figure out if there are some strategies to invite more interest into these partnership ideas. And, you know, one of the challenges we have faced in the past, which I think we can mitigate, is sort of this idea that if there is a private investment, it comes across as over-commercialization of public parkland. And we think there's a tasteful way to do that that mitigates that claim, and we just be open to exploring that. I mean, I think getting the word out that we have these opportunities is one of the main areas, and we would welcome any partnership recommendations that you think we should pursue.
I might have a few. Let's talk offline. What is the average cost of conversion? Let's say we want to convert an entire softball field. What is the average cost of conversion for grass to turf?
I got a number today that was right around $2.2 million for conversion, and those are among the most expensive athletic field projects in our system.
And I thank you for that. And then my final question is, I appreciated seeing the and the explanation on like some of the overhead and operational planning costs associated with just standard natural grass versus synthetic turf. What I would really love to see, and just keen to further explore, would be like a side-by-side comparison of the actual costs of those, because there's obviously ongoing maintenance costs associated and overhead associated with whatever you choose. But it's not clear to me, we'll love your initial point of view on this, but it's not clear to me that one is more cost efficient or effective than the other, you know, over take a 10-year period, for example. It sounds like 10 years is when you need to have it on a replacement schedule for synthetic turf. But is there one that's, as a general proposition, there's always going to be custom exceptions, but is there one that like generally is more cost effective than the other? And by the way, it doesn't, your answer, I'm staying true to my policy priority and goal that I mentioned earlier. We do need to convert more of those to turf, but is there one that's like clearly or at least marginally more cost effective than the other?
Well, so the challenge is we do think that maybe in the short run, grass fields have some benefit. We have, boy, how many synthetic turf fields do we have now?
Depends. Do you want to know by sport or by?
Well, so we have a lot of synthetic.
We have about 42 synthetic fields.
And they require, so there's a financial bow wave. The more synthetic turf fields you get, then the more financial liability you're buying. So with 42 fields, we know eventually we have at least $42 million baseline worth of future cost. That doesn't count inflation or CPI. But I think that analysis you mentioned is probably a good piece of work we need to go back and do.
That would be helpful. I mean, like we always endeavor to make data-informed resource allocation decisions, and so you know that would help guide our decision making. But yeah, so you are signing up during that when you make a decision. When we make a decision as a city to convert from grass to synthetic turf, you know, you are signing up for future expenses, right, of course. But you know, at the same time, when we have grass, like there's a lot of overhead associated with that. Not only in terms of like maintenance hours and labor hours, but like wear and tear on our equipment, right, and like. Yeah, so I would just love to better understand all that, like double clicking a little bit. And anyways, no, this is a very helpful presentation from my perspective.
What I would just add to that is also how do we value the cost and the community benefit associated with conversions and grass versus synthetic, right? So it's about community value and added hours for usership and so forth too, which I think needs to also be a part of that conversation.
Thank you. Council President Nelson.
Do any of the fields that are good candidates for conversion, could they be paid for by underspends in the park district's funding plan? So if there's money left over from 2023, could that pay for example, the design or something like that? I appreciate focusing on public-private partnerships, but I also don't like spending the money that we're collecting from taxpayers on a yearly basis. So could that be used toward that?
Yes, I think that's something we could look at. I think one of the realities of our conversions is we had a sort of internal financial policy where we would just try to use park district funding just for those fields. But because sometimes the estimate is coming in above what the actual bid is, we're having to use some REIT for that. So it's not like 100% of the revenues to pay for these fields are 100% coming from the park district. We are needing to leverage some REIT funding sometime, but we would be willing to explore where those opportunities exist.
Yeah, and I don't know the rules for allocating underspends from one category to, to fields.
Yeah, we probably have to come back here for that.
Right, okay.
Councilmember Rivera, and then Councilmember Kettle, and then, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Given the late time, I'm going to just raise some questions that we can take offline, but I at least want to take this opportunity to raise the questions. One is, you briefly touched on the synthetic fields that are rubber that need to be converted to cork, and I raise this because very recently a parent raised the issue of the health concerns with the synthetic fields, and I know that that's something you're looking at. Would love to hear more on timetable. How many are rubber that need to be converted to cork? Because that's a maintenance cost, right? And I imagine an expensive one. So I'll leave that there. Maybe you can, would love to have you get back to me on that information. I want to take us back and, super support conversions and appreciate all the expense involved, and very much would love to explore. And Christopher, you and I in the past have talked about how can we get creative to find more money for fields. So all of that, I'm on board with those conversations. I do want to take this back to the temporary solutions while we get the conversions, because it still stands that right now we have kids playing, and getting back to the equity issue, that becomes more of a, we have the synthetic fields that we do have, the boys are getting more playtime than the girls. Like, that's just a fact. And so in the interim, until we can do more conversions and figure out the cost for all that, what can we do to make sure that we are giving girls equal playtime with those synthetic fields? And what can we do with our partners or at SPS to hold them to the Title IX requirements, and just make sure that this is happening today? Because I think this is more of a reshuffling of the priorities on the field assignments currently, and I think that that's something that we could do today, versus the fields are going to take however many years for the conversion. So I want to make sure that we're not losing sight of that today, because there's some things that we can do today to mitigate for what's happening. And then I will raise, because I've heard from folks in my district, and it's addressed a little in here, but just the trash mitigation at the fields. I've heard a lot about debris and such, especially after it rains, or if we've had more winds recently in the last handful of years than I remember from 23 years ago when I moved here. And so that's causing a lot more debris at the play fields. And so how do we make sure that we're able to do the maintenance and make sure that the kids aren't impacted? And in some cases, they're cleaning up themselves, the fields themselves, which is fine, but it is a service that we provide as a city, and we need to make sure we're doing that robustly. So we'd love to hear more about that. We can take it offline. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, no problem. I will say, yeah, we as a city need to do a better job of cleaning up after ourselves. I see people trash our parks all the time, and 10, 15 years ago, you throw a piece of litter in the park, someone was gonna cuss you out, and now it's like all the time. So anyways, yeah, I will say, yes, I agree. We need to do a better job, like, taking care. Councilmember Kettle with the last question, and then we'll move on to item agenda number 3, because we have a vote, and I don't want to lose quorum, and I know people have to leave. Kettle.
Quickly, thank you very much for highlighting the West Queen Anne Playfield, and I really appreciate the work of Andy Sheffer and the teams. That project is key to start off on January 25, because the main the main piece of this is the synthetic field. The lighting's already being gone in, and that goes to the gender equity piece. And then to Councilmember Saka's point, the upper level is going to be a public-private to work on the baseball field. And so West Queen Anne Playfield is a great example of moving forward, starting in January, on all these different pieces that we've been talking about. So thank you for highlighting that and having it on the top of your upcoming list. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Kettle. Parks Department, I don't know if you have any final words at all for anything. I know we have a lot of questions up here, so we really appreciate your time and you coming today. I know you'll follow up with the council members, because I know they'll still have more questions, so thank you all. Thank you. Clerk, would you please read item agenda number 3 into the record?
Agenda item number 3, Council Bill 120807, an ordinance relating to Seattle Public Utilities, authorizing the General Manager and Chief Executive Officer of Seattle Public Utilities, or designee, to execute an agreement between Seattle Public Utilities and the King County Flood Control Zone District for the South Park Interim Flood Preparedness and Response Program, amending Ordinance 126955, which adopted the 2024 budget, changing appropriations to Seattle Public Utilities, and ratifying and confirming certain prior acts, all by a 3/4 vote of the City Council. This is for briefing, discussion, and possible vote. Presenting today are Andrew Lee, Chris Hilton, and Tracy Tackett from Seattle Public Utilities.
Thank you so much. And thanks to our Parks Department and Director Lee. Looking forward to the presentation today.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Hollingsworth and members of the committee. We have before you a very short item authorizing SPU to enter into an agreement with the King County Flood Control District to receive approximately $2 million to pay for activities undertaken as part of Seattle's South Park Emergency Response Plan. At our last meeting where I presented on the strategic business plan, I described SPU's intense efforts to secure non-utility funding to keep our rates as low as possible. And this is actually a great example of that. In response to the repetitive king tide flooding incidents in the South Park neighborhood, including the December 22 Duwamish River king tide flooding event, SPU developed an emergency response plan to prepare for the increased flooding risk in the community. The plan involves annual construction of a temporary flood barrier, activating an emergency preparedness and response staffing plan, as well as community outreach and engagement. With me this afternoon are Chris Hilton from our Corporate Policy and Planning Division, who will describe the key provisions of the agreement, and Tracy Tackett, who manages our SPU Drainage and Wastewater Capital portfolio. I'll pass it off to Chris at this point.
Great, thanks so much, Andrew. You can start at the next slide, Tracy. So as Andrew mentioned, we're here today to introduce an ordinance that authorizes SPU to enter an interlocal agreement with King County Flood Control District to support flood preparedness in the South Park neighborhood. The interlocal agreement is in response to the Duwamish River flooding event that occurred in December of 2022. As you likely recall, at that time, a combination of extreme high tide, low pressure, wind, and winter weather conditions resulted in the Duwamish River overtopping its banks, causing damage to 49 homes and businesses. In the following days and weeks, SPU and many other city departments provided significant support to the community, including emergency housing for 20 families, laundry, shower, and toilet facilities and trailers in the neighborhood, additional solid waste collection, and in-home support for cleanup and remediation. Go ahead. As a result of that body of work, and in recognition that the lower Duwamish Valley has experienced frequent winter flooding from high tides and heavy rains, which is now being exacerbated by sea level rise, SPU requested funding from the King County Flood Control District to support our ongoing flood preparedness and response program in the South Park neighborhood. The Flood Control District approved our request and is looking to allocate funding via this interlocal agreement. The agreement currently provides slightly over $2 million to support flood preparedness for 2023, so historical, and 2024. Go ahead. The agreement allows Seattle Public Utilities to seek reimbursement for expenses back to July of 2023, which is when the Flood Control District Board approved the funding allocation. The terms of the agreement are 5 years following mutual execution of the agreement. Go ahead. And this slide outlines some of the uses of the funding in the agreement. Activities include are focused on flood preparedness and prevention, including construction and maintenance of the temporary seawall, the sandbag wall, which covers approximately 12 city blocks and protects the neighborhood from the rising tides in the Duwamish. Also provides funding for some one-time expenses, such as pumps for a pump system to remove water from the neighborhood, and an emergency support trailer that can be put in the neighborhood in the face of an emergency. There's also some funding allocated to build community capacity among our nonprofit partners in the South Park neighborhood, and do communications and outreach to the neighborhood. Go ahead, Tracy. And with that, we leave you with a slide of the South Park neighborhood, and in the red line in the map there, you can see the extent of the sandbag wall, which has been constructed to support residents and businesses in South Park. With that, we are happy to take any questions.
Colleagues, any questions? I see Councilmember Strauss.
I'll be quick, Chair, seeing as it's 4:02 in the afternoon here. You had a gentleman that was part of your emergency response leading a crew, and I know that he'd come out to District 6 and assisted with a situation with shower trailers and portable restrooms. Can you remind me of his name?
Probably Walter.
That's right, Walter. The work that Walter did and continues to do for our city is amazing. This is a person that is action-oriented, wants to serve and meet the needs of all Seattleites, and does so with compassion, urgency, and a really firm boundary of what is and is not possible, and what is and is not actually the city's responsibility. And it stunned me. So much so that I remember it right now, and I bring it up here at committee. And so, I don't have any questions about this. That's a really long sandbag wall, and we really need to have a more permanent solution. Chair, I'm going to be voting yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Councilmember Strauss. And I do want to recognize Brian Goodnight from Central Staff. Do you have your overview?
Thank you, Chair. Just one quick comment, which is to note that in addition to approving or authorizing SPU to execute the ILA, the ordinance does add new appropriation authority for SPU, which is necessary for them to actually expend the funds this year. It's not the full amount of the $2 million because some was spent already in 2023, but so because it's adding appropriation authority, when it gets to full council, it'll require a 3/4 majority to pass. So just thank you.
Understood. Thank you. Councilmember Rivera.
Thank you, Chair. And Brian, that's ratepayer money, not general fund, or is it general fund?
It's actually the money from the flood control district. So
from the
although we're receiving the revenues, the council doesn't authorize the receipt of it, but we do have to authorize the appropriation. Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying for here and for anyone watching, for us and for anyone watching. Thank you, Chair.
Great clarifying question. Councilmember Kettle, do you have a question? No? I'm shocked.
No, well, no questions. The only thing I'm thinking about is I have a great map in my office that shows the water spaces in our city and our region, like pre-arrival of settlers, and from the time memorial. And it's really informative as you look at these kinds of things, particularly with climate change and the impacts of that on top of the traditional for the Duwamish River and the like, and something that really needs to be informing our decisions. That said, I support this effort that we have here.
Thank you, Councilmember Kettle. And for the record, that this does cross over into public safety, keeping our community in South Park safe.
Yep.
Now I'd like to move the committee to recommend passage of Council Bill 120807. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to recommend passage of the bill. Are there any comments? Seeing none. Okay, clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Kettle,
Aye.
Councilmember Rivera,
Aye.
Councilmember Strauss,
Yes.
Council President Nelson, Chair Hollingsworth,
Yes.
4 in favor, none opposed.
Motion carries, and the committee recommendation that the bill pass will be sent to July 16th City Council meeting. We'll move on to agenda item 4 into the record. Will you please read it? I can't.
Agenda item number 4 is Resolution 32136, a resolution relating to Seattle Public Utilities adopting a 2025 to 2030 strategic business plan for Seattle Public Utilities and endorsing a 3-year 2025 to 2027 rate path and a subsequent 3-year 2028 to 2030 rate forecast to support the strategic business plan update. This is for briefing and discussion, and presenting today are Noel Miller and Amanda Richer from the Seattle Public Utilities Customer Review Panel, and Brian Goodnight from Council Central staff.
And I want to thank the previous group for being here. I apologize. I didn't want you to think I was just moving on real fast. Thank you all for the presentation. And please state your name for the record and just jump right in.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Noel Miller. I'm the chair of the Customer Review Panel and have been an SPU customer since 1979. I currently live in District 6, but I've lived also in District 1 and 3. I've had a 35-year career as a licensed civil engineer, specializing in engineering and transportation infrastructure. And I am a past public works director for the city of Edmonds. I wanted to introduce Amanda Richer, who is the vice chair. She has a very interesting background as a community leader and advocate for solutions to end homelessness locally, regionally, and nationally. She is a co-founder of Shelter Appt, Inc., an all-volunteer nonprofit organization. Let's go to the next slide. The Customer Review Panel was originally authorized by the City Council in a resolution in March of 2013 to better engage SPU customers. There are 11 members appointed to the CRP, 5 positions representing the City Council, and 6 positions representing the Mayor's office. The members were selected having a diverse customer backgrounds and interests. This is the 3rd time with CRP involvement regarding the update of the strategic business plan. On to the next slide. Panel's process and tasks were to understand the mission and values of SPU, review assumptions, develop core values, strategic priorities, articulate values and key investments, represent the community and outreach efforts, and prepare a letter of findings and recommendations to the mayor and city council. We met a total of 18 times from June 2022 through February 2024, using a combination of hybrid and in-person meeting formats. A typical meeting was from 2.5 to 3 hours in length. On to the next slide. Under developing core values, utilizing a skilled meeting facilitator, the panel members independently developed and articulated our collective core values. These are learning and equity, connection and representation to community, sustainability and sustainable development, responsiveness, and trust. These values provided alignment with SPU's guiding values and principles. Under strategic priority areas, as a result of our many discussions and using our core values as a guide, we were able to establish the following strategic priorities along with underlying investments and initiatives. These were affordability and accessibility, asset management and infrastructure, SPU workforce, and climate resiliency. Under these priority areas, we supported the 21 investments and initiatives under the proposal in the strategic business plan. Specific investments and initiatives that were important to the CRP included customer affordability programs. And I will not, in brevity, I'm just going to name some of these items and move on to some other important messages for the council. So it was customer affordability programs, SPU support services for the unsheltered, side sewer financial assistance programs, and alternative funding and financing. And then there was one more on the next slide.
Okay. This one?
Let's see. Alternative funding and financing, and then, okay, under asset management and infrastructure, these programs were very strongly supported by the CRP. The capital investments need to be increased to preserve these continually aging assets and build redundancies to better prepare in case of a seismic event or major emergency. And then compliance with federal water quality consent decree is extremely important. And an example of that is, of course, the Ship Canal water quality project. On to the next slide. Asset management, the other initiative is the Advanced Meter Infrastructure Planning, or AMI. We understand that SPU has over 200,000 aging mechanical meters, and replacing these meters will improve accuracy, help with water leak detection, reduce consumption estimates, and improve billing timeliness. It's an expensive program, and what we supported was a business case to be developed over the next couple years, and bring forth options before undertaking this very costly investment, because it does increase the rate path. And next slide. SPU workforce. There are employee life cycle initiatives, and these are really important to support SPU being fully staffed in advancing the needed work of the utility. Ongoing efforts to fill essential vacancies and critical frontline functions are a top priority, and workforce recruitment programs should be expanded to include more robust training and apprenticeship programs to clear pathways to good-paying jobs and well-defined career ladders. The North One Water Operations Facility, Andrew mentioned that in his last presentation. It's a very critical and a significant investment, and it replaces 2 substandard and aging facilities. Replacement is needed to adequately support the frontline workforce in daily operations, serve as a 24/7 emergency operations center, and be resilient to remain in operation after a major earthquake. And then finally, climate resiliency and strategic priorities. There's the Duwamish Valley resilience, and the previous item just spoke to that. The overall investment is a holistic approach to foster flood mitigation, water quality, and salmon habitat, along with protecting the residents in the Georgetown and South Park areas. Long-term water supply planning, it's so important that we have a sufficient water supply to sustain our population, and developing an additional water source can be very expensive. So everything we can do to avoid that would help the ratepayers. Climate change and expected changes in weather types and timing are major factors driving this important need. And then under waste prevention and diversion, there's 5 programs specified under this in the plan, and to divert solid waste and from landfills and increased investment in waste prevention is really important. This is key to achieving SPU's zero waste goals and reducing the need for raw materials and reducing the carbon footprint. On to the next slide. There were 3 other investments that were important to the CRP, and those are the Seeds of Resilience Impact Investment Fund, Equity and Contracting, and 2030 Carbon Neutrality and Sustainable Operations. In total, the CRP was very supportive of all 21 investments and initiatives, and they're detailed in Appendix A of the plan. And then general comments on the next slide. Regarding the rate path, the CRP appreciates SPU's efforts to forego increases during COVID-19 as Seattleites were dealing with economic and health uncertainties. The COVID-19 created challenges to progress on some key investments, such as the Ship Canal Water Quality Project and the North One Water Facility. Different rate path options were presented to the panel in regards to what could be spent in and what initiatives could be put forward and what initiatives could be deferred. And then on to the King County wastewater rate increases. They're much higher than SPU's but have been factored into the SPU overall rate path. Approximately 56% of SPU's wastewater rate goes for King County wastewater treatment. As you're aware, the county has a significant amount of projected capital expenditures over the next 8 years, around $10 billion to comply with clean water regulations under their consent decree, along with renovating and upgrading its own aging infrastructure. Monitoring and influencing King County via the Regional Water Quality Committee is very important work. And then, in addition, we note that high utility taxes on the utility bills are regressive and create affordability challenges. So if there's ever an opportunity to lower them, please do so. The CRP endorses the 4.7 average annual rate path. This aligns with the 3 previous plan rate paths, which ranged from 4.2 to 5.2%, and support the customer's desire for predictable annual rate increases and modest rate increases. So based on the 4.7% average annual rate path, the CRP endorses all 21 investments as listed in the plan. And this includes the deferral of the implementation of the advanced meter infrastructure investment to allow more planning to occur. Conclusion and final comments from the CRP. Go on to the next. SPU can continue to be a leading utility in the nation by targeting investment in the strategic priority areas of affordability and accessibility, asset management, and infrastructure, solidifying and supporting its workforce, and funding proactive climate resiliency efforts. In closing, on behalf of the panel, I want to express SPU's dedication to continually providing reliable and high-level services to its customers. The strategic business plan update process was extremely collaborative, with everyone dedicated to the task, and we appreciate the partnership that we established with General Manager Lee and his entire team. Again, thank you for your time.
Awesome. Thank you. And Brian, good night. Do you have any, was it a comment or is it like your expertise? What would I call it?
Analysis.
Your statement?
I have a central staff memo presentation.
Thank you, a memo.
Yeah, should I go ahead and flip to that now?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I should have asked our council historian, Councilmember Strauss. That's our nickname for him because he knows everything. So should have asked him. The memo from central staff. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Noel. That was great. We're going to go to Brian, and then we'll open it up for questions from the council members.
Chair, is Mr. Goodnight's getting his presentation ready, I just want to also highlight Noel's work over the last number of years. I remember when Councilmember Peterson appointed you, if I recall that to be correct. I just really appreciate the work in those slides. Oh, there's not slide numbers on them, but the two of the last three slides where you're really condensing down. I'll prep you with the question I'll ask after Mr. Goodnight's analysis here, which is if you could summarize in 3 sentences for an average ratepayer why we should be putting forward this rate path, what would those 3 sentences be? So we'll come back to you because I was just stalling for Mr. Goodnight.
Well, thank you. Thank you, council members. So as you know, since this is the second presentation, SPU was here last committee meeting, and it's going to come back to the August 14th meeting for your consideration and vote. In looking through this, the information I was going to present today is largely pulled from my memo that was sent out to committee members on Monday and is posted to the agenda. So if it is pleasing, I can skip through some of my first 7 summary slides, just hit on a couple key ones, and then move right to the policy considerations. Does that make sense, Chair?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great. So I'm going to skip through a couple of the summary ones because they're largely duplicative of what you've heard from SPU. So this slide, which is slide 3 in the presentation deck, just is a refresh so you can see all of the different rate paths. So there are 4 lines of business for SPU. They are combined into an average weighted rate at the bottom, and you can see in the very lower right-hand corner the 4.7%, which is that average we keep talking about. The blue shaded cells are ones where the council has already adopted them legislatively. So we do one line of business each year, or one utility each year, and it's kind of a rolling 3-year average. So this one, the slide, you've seen the numbers on at the top bullet, which is the impact to single-family houses and to multifamily units. But what I wanted to highlight for you was the middle bullet point, which is if the council wanted to make adjustments to that average rate, that 4.6%, so it's helpful to just have kind of a rule of thumb for it. So if the council wanted to move from 4.7% down to 4.6%, the magnitude that it would take is a $44 million reduction in capital spending or a $27 million reduction in operations and maintenance spending over that 6-year period. It's important to note that italicized text at the bottom, which is this is just illustrative. It would vary depending on which line of business we were adjusting and what year the adjustments happened in, but that at least gives you a sense of how large of a adjustment it would take. Similarly, if the council wanted to spend more, that level of spending would bump it up from 4.7 to 4.8%. So that's one slide. I'm going to skip the next 2 and go to the third one, which is the combined annual rates slide. This chart is it's some of the same information that SPU has shown before, but it's displayed a little bit differently. So the blue bars in this chart they represent the 2021 strategic business plan. So again, it's a 6-year plan. We adopt it every 3 years typically. The pandemic messed that up a little bit, so our cadence is off this time. So the blue bars show each year of the projected SBP at the time, and then that blue dashed line is the average. The gray bars show the rates that were actually adopted by council legislatively, and then again, that gray dashed line is showing the average of those 4 years. And then the orange bars and the dashed line show the rates in the proposed SBP. So as you can see, the adopted rates, or the gray bars, for 21 through 24 are generally lower than it was anticipated in the 2021 SBP. For example, if you look at 2023 as an example number, the SBP projected that the combined rates would be 5% for that year, and they actually came in at about 3.5%. It flips in 2024. The opposite is true, that the adopted rates were higher than the SBP. But overall, the adopted rates averaged 3.6%, and the SBP's average was 4.2%. So why does this matter? What I was trying to show is just demonstrate that although the proposed SBP projects the new one, a higher average annual rate at 4.7%, the actual rates that are adopted by council in each and every year of the 6 years are what will be experienced by SPU's customers. So this is a planning document, with the 3 years of like the rate path and 3 years of a rate forecast, but things change over time. So that's kind of the point of that slide. On to the policy considerations. So there's 2 of them in the memo. One of them, the first one relates to the utility discount program, or the UDP. So the UDP is one of the assistance programs that the utility has. It provides a credit on the bills for income qualifying customers, and it's a 50% credit on SPU bills and a 60% credit on Seattle City Light bills. In 2023, a little more than 29,000 SPU customers were enrolled in the UDP, and SPU provided about $26.6 million of credits to those customers. On the next slide, I'll show you a chart that you'll be able to see, with the exception of 2020, which was impacted by the pandemic, and the city rolled out some relaxed enrollment requirements. UDP enrollment over the last 7 or 8 years has actually been quite moderate. So this chart shows SPU's historical UDP enrollment in the blue bars. And in the orange bars, it's the UDP enrollment projections that are included in the proposed strategic business plan. As you can see, just based on the angle of the chart, the proposed SBP assumes that the utility discount program is going to grow much more quickly than it has in the recent past. The estimate is that it will increase by 2,500 customers per year. If the projection is accurate, it would result in SPU having approximately 46,500 customers enrolled in the program by the end of the 6-year period in 2030. So the next slide. So in terms of the financial impact of this growth, SPU estimates that UDP credits in 2025 will be about $35 million, and the credits will increase by $2.8 million a year, bringing the credit total in 2030 to $49 million. UDP participation is impactful on rates because the standard rates need to be set higher, at a higher level, in order to account for the revenue reduction that's associated with the credits. So if we are overestimating UDP enrollment, it puts upward pressure on the proposed rate path. Conversely, if the UDP projections were underestimated, then future legislation that the council would receive would have rates that are higher than what would be in the SBP. So the couple options I identified for this issue. The first, no change. We could just leave the UDP assumptions at the levels that are in the proposed SBP. And the second one, we could request that SPU explore the financial and rate impacts of differing levels of UDP enrollment over the 6-year planning period. If the council believes that the proposed SPP should assume slower or faster growth in the UDP, we could ask SPU to model those financial impacts. And then if there are no questions, I'll move on to the second one. Okay, doesn't look like any questions. So
no,
the second—
please, I'm sorry. I was writing down notes.
No,
Go
that's
ahead.
okay. Yeah.
You're good.
The second policy consideration is the Capital Improvement Program, or CIP, accomplishment rate. So the CIP accomplishment rate, what it is it describes the percentage of budgeted capital resources that are expended in the year in which they're planned to be spent. Historically, SPU assumed 100% accomplishment rate for their program. During consideration of the strategic business plan in 2018, the council made a request that they adjust the accomplishment rate down to 97.5%. And then again, in the consideration of the 2021 SBP, SPU lowered their accomplishment rate for all 3 of their funds further to between 85 and 90%. So in terms of the impact to the rate, so when SPU proposed lowering rates to between that 85 and 90% in 2021, they estimated that the change would reduce the revenues needed over the 6-year period by approximately $222 million. So if you assume that less of the budgeted CIP work will actually be accomplished, then you need less revenue to support that work. In turn, if you reduce the amount of revenue that's needed for the work, then there's savings in the near term for ratepayers. So the rates then can be lowered. So here's the chart of the CIP accomplishment rates for SPU by line of business between 2014 and 2023. And just a quick note on the abbreviations at the top. So the blue bars are the water fund, orange is drainage and wastewater fund, and gray is the solid waste fund. And then the yellow bar is it's a non-weighted average, so it's just a pure average of the three numbers. It would be possible to weight it based on the size of the capital programs as well. But as you can see, SPU's overall accomplishment rate has decreased over the past decade, and the average rate has been below 80% since 2017. And there was a noticeable dip in 2020, but that was the pandemic's impact on capital project delivery that year. So the proposed SPP includes a further reduction down to 80% for all three of the funds. There is an exception with the Ship Canal Water Quality Project, which is pegged at 95%, and that's consistent with 2021 Strategic Business Plan as well. So this lower accomplishment rate is appropriate if the department continues to deliver that capital projects at or below 80% of the budgeted levels over the next 6 years, with the intention being that you don't want to collect funds from ratepayers until they're actually needed. The risk of lowering the accomplishment rate, though, is that the SPP may no longer provide an accurate projection of what the future rate increases will be if the capital accomplishment is higher than projected. So if the capital spending outperforms, then you'll see rates in bills that come to council that are higher. And then a related concern, which we'll have an option for on the next slide, is that if the lower accomplishment rates are indeed accurate, so if it's been a decade or so and the department is consistently delivering an 80% level, I think it raises a question regarding whether the capital budget should be adjusted to more accurately reflect the amount of work that we actually think can be accomplished. So the options on this one, there are three. The first is the same as we typically always do, which is no change, so we just leave it as it is, as the levels in the proposed SPP. Secondly, we could adjust the rate. The council could decide that it should be higher or lower, and we could adjust the rate path accordingly for that. Or the third would be to request SPU to perform some type of an evaluation of its capital delivery processes and then report back to council with its results. So with the goal being either increasing the accomplishment rate over time or right-sizing the capital budget. And that is the end, and I'm happy to take any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Brian, and thank you, Noel. I was pretty impressed with you being a customer since 1978. Do you still have your old water bills from 1978?
They're probably filed somewhere.
Okay, that's pretty.
They were a lot less back then.
I'm pretty sure. It's pretty impressive. Colleagues, do you have any questions at all? Yeah, Councilmember Strauss.
Chair, so many questions, and I'm going to reserve them for a one-on-one briefing so that we are able to end the committee.
Awesome. Thank you, Councilmember Strauss. Councilmember Rivera, I want to recognize you if you have any questions. But
likewise, Brian, I'll
Absolutely.
find you and for questions.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Chair, I already take it back because I already asked Noel a question. Maybe give him an opportunity to
okay,
answer.
absolutely. Yeah. I remember the question. Go ahead, Noel.
Okay, so here's three. Enhance water quality and other.
Is it possible you turn on your? I don't know if your mic's on. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Enhance water quality of our receiving bodies of water and other environmental protections. The replacement of aging infrastructure and mitigation efforts to address climate change and earthquake risk.
Thank you. Very helpful.
Wow. It's pretty impressive. All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Councilmember Kettle. I know if you have follow-ups, you will contact SPU directly for District 7.
Yes.
Oh, hey, thank you. Thank you both for being here, SPU. Thank you, Noel. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Director Lee, for your leadership. And I saw Hennessy somewhere around here, but I know he left. My favorite Hennessy. I always have to say that. Thank you all. And I guess we will now, if there's no further questions, our meeting is going to come to a close. I have set the record next to the public safety meeting with 2.5-hour long meetings. Thank you, Bob.
Mine was 2 1/4, so you win. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, everyone. If we have no items on the agenda for today, do my colleagues have any other items of business? Great. Seeing none, this concludes July 10th, 2024 meeting of the Parks, Public Utilities, and Technology Committee. Our next meeting will be scheduled for Wednesday, July 24th at 2 p.m. If there's no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Hearing none, it is 4:35 p.m. on the dot. Thank you. Have a great Wednesday.